Huskers. I got Deontay Williams here, and we will, I'm going to put someone on the spot here. Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, question for Deontay.
Morning, Deontay.
How you doing? He's just been pushing us to work on our craft and keep working on details and stuff like that, like feet technique and all that, and keep playing a solid or a great game as we is as a DB unit, and keep the young guys still on the same page as the older guys.
Next up, Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Is playing great this year. You could tell that he learned from last year, from this year, that he improved in a lot and everything. And Purdue, they're gonna try to do a lot of concepts, but they could do a lot of concepts in different types of formations and different types of ways, just to basically try to trick us in some of the ways on defense, but do the same thing though as well, and that's how they succeed in their offense. So,
Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
we're just playing for our pride. You know, you put in all this work all season, and there's no need to hang your head down because the season ain't going as the way we want it to go. But also just to finish the couple games as strong as possible as we can, and try to win the rest of the way. You don't play to lose, so you always gonna play and give it your all every game, no matter what the scoreboard is.
Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Along those lines,
Illinois game, it was just a bad atmosphere all around. Starting from that day of the game, like waking up, people wasn't ready, stuff like that. We didn't have no juice. It just felt bad. It just felt like we wasn't ready to play that typical day. And plus we had all black on just to represent the black shirt, and that's like a disgrace how we played out there against Illinois. We can't do that no more. So we just try to emphasize this week that just passed, just bring that energy, bring that juice back onto the defense, back onto the field.
but did you have a
It started off in the week of practice. Everybody, like, just the juice alone, it was very intense in practice. Everybody was working hard, getting each other better, going at it with each other, making it competitive in practice. And on that Friday, we just felt good waking up because we knew that we had a great week of practice. And so that's why we played as a great unit. We played together as a whole on defense. So.
Thank you, Deontay.
Andrew Ward.
Hey, Deontay, I was curious, what kind of boost did Colin Miller give you guys? He seemed very vocal on the sidelines last Friday.
Yeah, Colin always was the vocal guy on the field, and he was showing it when he was hurt off the field. So he always been that guy that get us up when we down, that guy that always motivate us to do better, and that guy that always push us push us because he know our tangible. He know that we could be a great defense as a whole. So he was that guy that just brought the juice into the whole defense. So
Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Deontay, I know before the season you told us you felt like you had a lot to prove and put on film because you missed last year. How do you feel like individually it's gone for you in that pursuit?
how it going for me this year? It is to me. As a player, I feel like I could do better. With my feet and putting stuff on the film and stuff like that. Tackling, I could have worked on a little more. Covering, I could have worked on a little more. It's just stuff that I could fix, things that I could fix for myself just watching and learning. And then this whole year just been a learning experience for me from coming back from a year ago from my injury. So other than that, I wouldn't take nothing back from what I did, but I feel strong about my play, and I always believe in myself, regardless of the fact if it's bad or not. I know what I could fix.
Obviously, you guys have games left, so you want to focus on that, but we're heading into December where people are going to have to start making decisions. Do seniors talk about what they're going to do next year yet, or is that still a little ways down the road?
I think that's still a little ways down the road. I think the seniors ain't really thinking about what's next on their next chapter of life. But I think we just trying to just go out there every day, take every day for advantage and practice, games, all that. Just try to cherish this moment as a whole.
Yeah, thank you, Deontay.
One or two more quick ones for Deontay. Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Deontay, I want to ask you this as an older guy who's been in the program for 2 or 3 years. Coach Frost has mentioned in these interviews a few times, has talked about his time as a player at Nebraska in terms of player accountability and, what he wants to see from this group. I know that you guys have heard from former players who've come in to talk to you guys in previous seasons. Do you still hear that message from Coach? And in what ways does that conversation resonate with the players in the program today?
You gotta say that again. You kind of lost
When
me
you-
on that one.
Does you hear from Coach Frost talking about his time as a player and what it meant to play for Nebraska, the player accountability? Does he talk to you guys about that like he talks to us about it? And does that resonate with you?
Yeah, that resonate with all of us, because they set a platform for us. Set a platform for us to play as hard as we can. Back then they got 5 national championships, and you see that every day when you walk into the building. And so you have a set standard that you have to set to play when you're wearing this uniform, and you have a set standard when you play when you have that black shirt on your back as well. So yeah, it's supposed to resonate with you because this the school that you chose to play for. You chose to play for a tough-nosed school like this, or a great program like this, a great fan base like this, that believe in their players, and the state believe in their players. So it's always going to resonate with you throughout your time here. So
Thank you.
Last one for Deontay. Andy Kendi, KETV.
Hey, Deontay, what kind of challenge is it to try to keep number 3, David Bell, and number 4, Rondale Moore, in check? Is this the best tandem that you'll see?
Well, we already had a challenge in the first game against Olave and Garrett Wilson. So they just another good set of wide receivers that we still got to line up and play them. So as a challenge, yeah, they're going to be a challenge, but I believe in the whole defensive unit. I believe in the whole defensive back unit to do what we got to do to get the job done. And so a challenge that we would accept. We came back down from some great wide receivers like that. You just gotta go to battle with them all the way through. So.
Thank you, Deontay.
All right, thank you, Deontay. We'll have Cam Taylor Britt next. All right, we'll keep going with Cam Taylor Britt. First question, Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
Hey Cam, what did you see on that punt in the fourth quarter, and where did the ball come down and all that?
It was really windy out there in Iowa. We noticed that during pregame, but as I, just saw it come off the kicker's foot or the punter's foot, I knew it was, going to be a wobbly ball just because, of course, pregame, like I said, but, just catch the ball, and get what I can get to help the team out. And as the ball is coming down, I just see it, it's wobbling, very funny and things like that. And I just try to make a play on it, and it falls out my hand.
Frost made a comment after the game about needing to catch every punt in practice. Has that been an ongoing issue, catching punts in practice? I know you're not the only punt returner, but has that been something that you guys have struggled with?
Yeah, it's been here and there. Some guys drop some punts here and there. It shouldn't be that hard, to catch a ball coming out the air. We're here for a reason, and, that's the job we need to get done.
Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Deontay talked a little bit about this. How was the defense's mindset? In what ways was it different going into the Iowa game than it was going into the Illinois game where you guys had a setback?
I just say, with Iowa, is pounding, the whole game. You have to play with a different mindset. With different teams, you come at them a different way, just based off their film and their team that they have. But I say Iowa, is that gritty, get down and dirty team. And, we have to switch the flip on that. We have to get in there and stop the run, just because they're a run-heavy team. And when our, the passes come our DB way, our way, we have to make a play on it.
What's the defense's level of confidence right now? How would you characterize it, Cam?
Oh, I feel just, like the defense as a whole, we're ready, instantly to get back on the field. We talked about that as a team, and, even when the offense, goes 3 and out, we're down the sideline, we got you offense, we're ready to go back out there and get you the ball back so you can go and score. We just also tell them, if they don't score, we're going to go score. So it's basically like a competition thing, but we just try to let the offense know that we got them, and, we're just going to handle our business.
Thank you.
Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Cam, I know you've been heavily involved in special teams since you got here, really. What's your assessment of just the whole operation, where it's at? Do you see areas that you still need to improve in or where do you think the group is at right now?
Teams, just give it your all, just because that might be the play that, changes the game.
Thank you.
Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Hey Cam, DiCaprio finally got an interception last week. What did you say to him? It was a long time coming for DiCaprio.
Well, if you ask him, he'll tell you. But I tell him every game, this your game. You're going to get a pick this game. Just follow the ball through and go get it. and the ball really, just landed right there in his hands so perfectly. I don't know how he could dropped it. I was so happy for him. As you can see me, in the pictures and the videos, just chasing him. I'm like so happy. Like I caught the interception myself, but it's just, exciting to see, another player or, especially my brother, close teammate who's always been there for me, since I've got here, show me the ropes. But just to see him get that, I was so excited.
Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Hey Cam, I'm curious, with classes now done for the semester, how different are things for you guys in December compared to maybe what you had been used to, and what more can you guys do with this extra time you might have?
Just basically get in the film room a lot more, just stay at the stadium all day. What else do you have to do? Nothing. School is over, that's done. And we could just, bond, together more and be in here more just to get, better.
And then I want to ask you, what do you remember about that game last year at Purdue? When you look at the big picture, it cost you guys a chance to go to a bowl game, and you guys had a 10-0 lead early in that game. How sour of a taste did you leave West Lafayette in your mouth a year ago?
The thing is, I haven't played Purdue since I've been in college. I missed a Purdue game my freshman year with a concussion, and my sophomore year, I was just sick, and it was really bad just watching it from home. I'll say, just it's everything as well because, we were up in the game and, we had some miscues here and there as I watched, and watched film the next week, with the team. It was just everything and, they executed more than we did.
Looks like we got three more here for Cam. Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Cam, we've talked a little bit over the course of the year about you sort of settling in as a corner, but where do you feel like your game is at this point on the edge, and what kind of challenge does either David Bell or Rondale Moore present this weekend?
It just brings the best out of me, I just know those are two, good receivers. They have, great ball skills that can, work in space. It's just going to test my technique, just, show everybody, the player that I am. I love to guard, the best receiver on the field, and I believe, that could just show everybody, I could play with the best and just go out there and help my team get the win.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey Cam, I was going to ask you about Purdue, matchup with Purdue, but you kind of took care of that. I'll ask this: it's been kind of a rough year in the secondary, especially with some of the new guys. Not everybody's still around who came in last year or in the summer or spring. How is everybody else who's left, especially the younger players who are left, holding up with some of that? I mean, this has obviously been a difficult year to get adjusted to college when you don't have some of the normal routines. But what do you see from just like the mentality of the younger players in the program at your position?
Well, I'll just say, the young guys in our position, my position, we just try to lead by example. We've been here, been through the system a little bit, and, just to show those guys the ropes, like I said, DiCaprio showed me, I feel like it was my responsibility, some of the other guys' responsibility, to show the guys the way, as far as, meetings, being on time, just the little things, get the little things right first, just coming into college and, we can help you with the playbook. That's no part because we have to play with you. Just look out for each other.
And we'll finish up back to Sam McEwen, World Herald.
Hey, Cam, I'll follow up on Mitch's question. Are you surprised or frustrated that so many freshmen have left the program from that 2020 class, or do you have insight that maybe we don't as to why?
I wouldn't say, I'll be upset just because that's not my life that I'm living. I'm here for Nebraska and I'm staying at Nebraska. That was those guys' choices to make, and I hope they, succeed anywhere they go. But we have to move on here, and next man is up, and they have to play.
You feel like the young guys in the program are ready to roll for the last 2 weeks? I mean, Iowa's a rival, so you can naturally get up for that. But do you feel like the culture is strong enough to kind of push through these last 2 weeks?
Well, we're still building the culture because we're not winning, and that's not Nebraska culture. I'll say, we're still building, like I said, but we'll get there, and they'll help us get there.
All right, thank you, Cam. We will have Will Honus here in just a second. Okay, we have Will Honus here, and first question, Andy Kendi, KETV.
You know, you guys standing where you're at with your record and whatnot, with 2 games left, 3 games left, really. What do you guys have to prove these next couple weeks, and what's the motivation here down the stretch?
Every week we got an opportunity to compete and get better, and the season hasn't went as planned, but we still have an opportunity to finish it strong. You know, we can finish with 3 wins, and that'd be ideal to finish 500 and get some momentum for next year.
Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Iowa manages 2.9 yards per carry against you guys, and they had been running the ball well. How do you feel about that particular stat and just the defense's play in general after the kind of the setback against Illinois?
I felt pretty good about the way we played on defense. Obviously, we stopped the run. That was our plan coming into the game. We saw what they were saying, that they needed to run the ball to win and be more physical than us. So I felt like we kind of took it to them and were able to stop the run pretty well. But at the end of the day, that wasn't enough, and it's really got to come down to we've got to find a way to force a turnover. We've got to find a way to win on special teams, because no matter how well you play on defense, you have to be good in all 3 phases of the game.
At 1-4, how do you feel like the buy-in team-wide is right now?
I think the buy-in on our team's really well. It's been good the whole season. You know, guys are still coming to work every day. There's still a lot of energy in practice, and it's just about executing. We've got the guys in the room we need. It's just going to be about everybody doing their job and coming to work every day.
Thank you, Will.
Andrew Ward, KLKN.
Hey, Will, what kind of boost did Colin Miller give you guys on the sidelines? And then what kind of role has he played in your career and your development?
Colin's definitely helped a lot. You know, on the field, he's a great communicator, a really good player, and he brings everybody up when he's on the field, and he makes everybody around him better. And that's just a credit to the type of player and leader he is. And even though he hasn't been playing, he's still helping. You know, he's in meetings, he's in practice, he's still bringing guys up. You can see him on the sideline. He brings the energy. And I'm really grateful to be playing with Colin, and hopefully he'll be back soon.
Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland.
Hey, Will, you see the offense every day in practice. I'm curious what stands out to you about the running backs every day, whoever it might be, and has that been at all different from what that group has shown in games?
Yeah, I think we've got a good, talented group of running backs. They're young. Experience is huge in college football, and I think the more reps those guys get, the better they'll get. And I think it's just a matter of time before those guys really take off and keep improving. And obviously we're missing Diedrich right now, and hopefully he can get back soon and give us a boost in the run game.
Journal-Star, Parker Gabriel.
Hey, Will, what's been the biggest improvement for you in your mind? Is it about being another year off of the knee injury, or are you seeing the game better? What has allowed you to become more of an all-around player this year?
I'd say it's just a combination of a lot of things. Knee feels good, and then I'm really confident in the guys around me right now. The defensive line's playing really well. The other linebackers are doing a really good job setting edges, and I think my play is just reflective of my teammates and coaches, and those guys have really stepped up their game, and that's brought me along as well.
Husker Online, Sean Callahan.
Hey, Will, I'm just curious. I know you guys lost last week, but how big of a step forward do you think the defense took just with the improvements you made against Iowa versus Illinois the week before?
Yeah, we knew we needed to bounce back. The way we played was unacceptable to our standard, and we knew we needed to come in and stop the run. Iowa's a good zone, downhill running team, so it was big for us to come back and get some momentum for the rest of the season and try to really get our fits down and play well.
And I'm curious just to gauge, you're a senior, been around for your 3rd year, with a couple of games left here in December. What are guys playing for? I mean, when everyone's motives are different, what are your thoughts? What are guys playing for here down the stretch of this season?
I think every time you step on the field, it's what you put on tape is who you are, and it's got to be a pride thing, you know. Our record isn't great, but you never want to put something on tape you're not proud of. And every play, the eye in the sky never lies. So every play you got to bring it, and you're going to be judged no matter how you play, good or bad.
Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Well, curious what you know about Purdue. Obviously, they like to throw the ball. They're throwing for more than 300 yards per game. What have you seen out of them early on in your preparation for the Boilermakers?
Yeah, they've got two really talented receivers. We're going to have to be really prepared. They have a lot of different like junk plays, and they're really creative in the ways they get their playmakers the ball. So everyone's going to have to be really assignment sound, trust your technique, trust your eyes, and be ready to try to stop those guys.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Will, you seem to be a pretty good example of somebody who shows that time in the program can really transform you and transform the impact that you make as a player. And I know you obviously were coming off of an injury in your first year, but you know what has the couple of years that you've had, the time that you've put in with Coach Ruud in the weight room, done for you, and you know, making you ready to do what you're doing this year?
Yeah, there's a lot of credit due to the staff. Our weights coaches do a great job getting you in shape, getting you stronger, faster, and then all off season, you know, we were doing extra meetings through Zoom, trying to stay in the film room, keep learning, get a better understanding of this defense, and a lot of credit to our coaches, and they've done a really good job of keeping us working throughout the off season, and I think defensively we've really improved this year.
I mean, with you individually, like what do you think that the months that you've had to learn have how have they impacted you in a positive way?
I would just say really understanding everyone's assignments on defense allows me to know what I'm doing and play faster. When you really have a good understanding of what everybody else around you is doing, it helps you play faster. And knowing your assignment and trusting your teammates is big.
Thanks.
Do one more for Will. Back to Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
How do you think Luke is in that regard, Luke Reimer, and his level of understanding, and how much do you find yourself helping him during like a game like Iowa?
Luke's a quick learner. You know, he hasn't been in the program that long, but every day he's working. We spend a lot of time in the film room together, pretty much every day, talking about responsibility on certain calls, certain defenses against different teams. You know, we'll go through a game, go through all our calls, try to make sure we know what we're doing every single play, and just so we know, no matter what defense we're in, no matter what formation the offense is in, we've got to be prepared and know what we're supposed to do.
Do you look at that final stat sheet that, you know, he has 12 tackles, you have 8, you're the leading tacklers. Do you see, is there a measure of pride in that, or do you just look at the bottom line?
To me, individual stats aren't big. To me, it's always about the scoreboard, and individual stats don't mean anything when you lose. And no matter how many tackles we make, I'd much rather win. And to me, we just got to keep improving and not worry about individual.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Will. Appreciate it. We'll have Travis Vokalek next. We'll switch into offense. All right, we've got tight end Travis Vokalek here, and let me know if you have questions for Travis. First one, Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Travis, after that game, Scott Frost was talking about, you know, needing to have a passion every rep basically, and every time you're out there and holding guys accountable. How have you seen your fellow peers respond to that when Coach Frost talks to you about that and reaching that standard?
Yeah, I think guys have responded decently with that. I think it kind of fires guys up when Coach Frost is asking us to do that. So yeah.
I mean, after like Friday's game, does it show to you in the locker room just how much it kills them to be on the wrong end of that?
Yeah, it sucks. No one came here to lose games, and especially to Iowa. Big rivalry, and it stung a little more than the other games. But we got 3 more opportunities here to go out and try and win out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Travis, just curious how quickly and abruptly the game ended on Friday. You guys had the ball and you were moving the ball down the field and into Iowa territory. Did it just seem like all of a sudden it was over? And you just mentioned the sting of that loss. Do you still feel it today, or have you moved past it?
Yeah. With that last drive, we were all planning on going down there and winning the game, definitely scoring, and unfortunately it didn't go that way. But, we've watched the tape, we've learned from our mistakes, and, we're moving on, getting ready for Purdue this weekend.
Next up, Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Travis, obviously you guys have had both Adrian and Luke start games this year, replace each other during games, but this was the first time we sort of saw what looked like a structured timeshare. How did you think that worked overall from your perspective? And does it make any difference at all for you, depending on who's in the game?
Yeah, I trust both those guys. They know how to run our offense. I trust our coaches with how they're dealing with the playing time of both. So, I don't want to say it matters because, we're going in there and, both those guys can make plays. So I trust both of them.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Do you notice, Travis, to follow up on that, do you notice a pace change? Is there a boost of momentum when one guy comes in? Not one guy in particular, but when you switch, is there just something about like the flow of the offense, good or bad, that can happen when there's a change made, whether it's in a series, in the middle of a series, as you did once, or as possessions change?
Yeah, both guys are fiery guys, so I wouldn't say there's a huge change. I think Luke runs offense a little quicker than Adrian, but I don't think that's a huge change. That's not a negative or positive. So I think, yeah.
Lincoln Journal-Star, Steve Sipple.
You mentioned the Iowa rivalry. How much did you feel that on Friday? And is there any concern that you have about duplicating that sort of energy against Purdue?
Yeah, I think we definitely have to continue, how we practiced last week. We practiced hard. I think that was one of our better weeks of practice. And the guys were fired up. Iowa's a big game. I think we got to approach every game like it's an Iowa week. So hopefully we can continue to do that these next 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Other questions for Travis? Okay, we'll let him go. Thank you, Travis.
Perfect. Thank you.
Frost, but it might be a few minutes. Probably be a few minute break here, guys, but I am hoping Adrian will join us before Coach Frost. Okay, we will finish up players. We got Adrian Martinez here, and then we're expecting Coach Frost around 12:30. So I will go to Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star first.
Hey, Adrian, just watching the film back, could you give us your sense of the way that you played on Friday and just your overall thoughts about how it went?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. Relatively, I feel like I was efficient. There are obviously a few decisions I'd like to have back, but I think that's pretty normal. The little things biting us again that we have to clean up, and that's our whole offensive unit, I know. And it's never fun to lose. So tough lessons, but I know we are getting better. I know all of us are taking something away from a game like that.
You mentioned the little things. I know that there's not just a magic cure for getting that done, but in your mind, like what separates teams or units that do the little things well and teams or units that don't always?
Yeah, well, I would say we're just going to have to continue to keep putting effort towards those things in practice. I think that's all we can do. And I think those teams that do execute those little details, they're doing those things in practice, and they're executing it when their name and the time calls for them to do so in the game. And obviously that's me getting better in practice. That's our whole offensive unit. We're going to keep hammering those details, and I think that's all we can really do.
Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Hey, Adrian, what are we going to learn about this team and this program over the month of December, and just as far as just the culture and how bad guys want to win over this final stretch of the season?
Yeah, well, I think you said it. It's about grit. It's about wanting to win. The rest of the season, that stuff's in the past. All we have now is Purdue this week, and we have to make the most of it. And our guys are going to come out with fire and intensity this week to get it done. And that's what culture is. That's what the desire to win is. And we're going to come with that type of attitude this week because we have to.
Brian Christopherson. Kevin?
If I could backtrack a little bit. Everybody saw your pregame speech against Penn State. When you found out you weren't going to be the starter that week and then the next week, what was your mindset as a competitor, to stay engaged in the fight to come back like you have?
Yeah, well, more importantly, my mindset was that of a captain. Our captains are voted on by the team, and that's something that means a lot to me, and it's an honor, and I owe it to those guys to give it everything I have, and that was really my mindset, regardless of the fact that I had been demoted. I was going to be there to support Luke and support our team because, that's what matters. That's what I came here to do, and my mindset didn't shift. I wanted to win. I still want to win, and showing up each and every day with that type of attitude and mindset is what leaders do, is what good leaders do.
Did you understand the challenge from coaches when they laid out, you mentioned demoted that week? Did you understand what was in front of you as they kind of put it to you and why that was the situation?
Yeah, I feel like the coaches did a good job of that, and I'm not really going to give up too many details here because I think stuff like that needs to stay in-house. But yeah, I had a complete understanding, and again, it wasn't going to change my mindset towards practice, towards games. I was still going to approach everything with the same sort of intensity and competitiveness that I would usually. And obviously, being that captain, being a good teammate to others, that stuff wasn't going to change.
Thank you.
Derek Peterson, Hale Varsity.
Hey, Adrian. Cam Jurgens is going through some stuff right now. From your position, is there anything that you can maybe say or do to help him out with anything, be it in the game or outside of the game, or do you get the sense that he's just kind of in his head a little bit right now?
For me personally, just give him feedback. I know he knows me coming up to him and getting in his face and anything like that. I don't think that's going to help the situation. And just getting extra reps, whether that be before practice, after practice, on off days. He's putting in the work, and I know it's something that matters a lot to him. So just helping them with that process. I think that's all I can do, and the rest of the quarterbacks, really.
Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
This is a broad question, Adrian, but I think you're pretty well equipped to answer it. Is it hard to get on players in today's day and age? Is it hard to get on your teammates? Is it challenging to challenge them in really aggressive ways when you feel like it's necessary? And if so, why?
Yeah, this is interesting because I think my opinion, my mindset towards that's kind of changed a little bit. I always kind of believe that great players, good players like to be coached hard. But people are different, especially here at Nebraska. Guys come from all different types of cultures and environments. So I believe it's kind of a case-to-case type of deal. And getting to know that person, getting to know that player and what motivates them is a big piece of that. I would say generally with my generation, guys tend not to like to be yelled at and stuff like that, especially in group settings. So little things like that you have to know in my position as a captain and trying to get on those guys. Yeah, I definitely do that, but I don't want to yell in front of the whole team and embarrass them. So sometimes that means pulling them aside and coaching them up that way.
That said, and I really, really appreciate that answer, Adrian. I really do. When your coach talks about guys that he used to play with, and I don't know how well you know those guys, but a lot of the guys on the Zoom call know those guys. And they were the kind of guys who called people out in public. Like they were tough love leaders. Do you have to find ways to duplicate that, but at the same time, how do you figure out what a guy likes or doesn't like? Like how do you figure out if he can take that coaching in public or if he can even take criticism?
Yeah, and I think the way you're asking this question, you're alluding to it, but it's tricky. It really is tricky. And with kind of what we stand for here at Nebraska and, some of that old school tough love, there's definitely a place for that. And it does play a role here in our program. But if you can have the combination of those two, and some guys, not everyone's going to be a perfect fit. Not everyone's going to love that style, but that's our culture, and that's what the coaches want to establish. That's what our leaders want to establish. So it's kind of that blend of the two. And I believe that's just the current state of the athlete, in my opinion.
Thank you, Adrian.
Time for two or three more for Adrian. Steve Sipple, Lincoln Journal-Star.
How are you with tough coaching on the practice field? How do you react? How do you respond to it?
I like it personally. Obviously, you guys know my coach, Verduzco. He's a big details guy, and he's going to be hard on us as quarterbacks and demand a lot. And I respect that, and I love that personally. Whether that means yelling or not yelling, that sort of thing, I think it just depends, But for me, I know when a coach is coaching me hard, that means he cares.
Adrian, and the other question I had for you regarded, it was a little bit different of a quarterback setup on Friday in that you knew Luke was coming in pretty quick after two series, according to Coach Frost. How were you with that setup on Friday?
Yeah, well, I was prepared for it. I think that's all you can ask for, really. And I was ready. Whatever the coaches think that we need to do to win, I'm ready to make that happen. So that was the situation for that game, and I was well prepared and stayed engaged, and Luke did the same. So I feel like we executed that plan pretty well, the two of us.
You basically only had one incompletion. Is that as comfortable as you felt passing this year?
You could definitely say that. I felt really comfortable and confident back there. And obviously there are a few decisions I would have liked to have back. I think when, I scrambled, I could have held in there a little bit longer and made a throw. But I believe those are normal things. And when you look back, and hindsight's 20/20. So, I'd say in general, that was the most comfortable I'd felt.
Thank you, Adrian.
Evan Bland, World Herald.
Hey, Adrian, I wanted to ask you about the running backs. I'm just curious from your position as a quarterback, what's the challenge in rotating so many guys in there, not just maybe taking handoffs, but trusting them in pass protection or whatever else it is that they might be doing? What's that challenge for you? And then maybe what's your sense of where that group is mentally in a season where they've kind of been banged up back there?
Yeah, I would say it's not any different than what we're going through as a team, just adversity. And I believe Coach Held does a really good job with those guys, and that's why we're so confident in them. It doesn't matter who's back there for Luke or myself. We know they're going to be able to get the job done, whether it comes to pass protection or whatever they're being asked of when it comes to running a route or getting the ball handed off to them. Obviously, you saw Ramir get some extensive action this last Saturday or this last Friday, and he did a good job. So we're confident in those guys, and we're going to continue to be that way no matter who's back there because of Coach Held and the rest of the staff and the part that we all play in making sure those guys are prepared.
One last quick one for Adrian. Andy Kendi, KETV.
Last year at Purdue, I remember it being so cold and windy in that news conference outside, and you came out in a t-shirt and stocking feet. What do you remember most about that game, and does it stick with you more so than other games that you played?
Yeah, it definitely does, and I'll keep some of that personal to me, but definitely a game I'll remember, and one that we made too many mistakes offensively. The defense played really well, and something that we'll have to learn from going into this game. Yeah, sorry I couldn't give you a better answer there.
All right, thanks, Adrian. That'll wrap it up for players today, and we'll have Coach Frost here in a couple minutes. Okay, Coach Frost is here, so we'll get started. Let's start with Sean Callahan, Husker Online.
Coach, I was curious with classes out, what can you guys do with this extra time? You'll have 3 full weeks here at least where you don't have to worry about classes anymore. What are you guys doing with the team maybe that you couldn't do before?
We're still limited to hours we can spend with them per day, but if we can get a little extra time here and there, might help.
And I wanted to ask you about Marcus Fleming. He didn't travel out with you guys. What is his status with the program right now?
Yeah, Marcus, we wish him the best. He's not going to be on the team anymore. So we'll move on and feel good about that position where it is.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
Hey, Scott. It was interesting to hear Adrian today talk a little bit about some of the challenges of coaching kids today and hear his thoughts on some of the conversations about players from your era, when they're brought up, when you bring them up, when they come in. And I know that you brought some of those guys in to visit with the team at times, maybe not this year. But what's your thoughts on when those guys talk to your players or when you talk to your players about, times 20, 25 years ago? What are your thoughts about how much of that gets through, the message gets through, the stuff that those guys say and the way that they play the game gets through to players today?
I don't know. We haven't had hardly anybody talk to the team all year. It's just been a strange year. It's been hard on our team. It's hard to complain because there's people out there losing businesses and losing salaries and fighting through COVID, and it's certainly affected us. I think it's affected some of our young players a little bit too. Getting on campus and seeing students everywhere and being able to go out in Lincoln and see Memorial Stadium full. That's certainly a benefit for us when we bring kids to Lincoln, and we haven't been able to do that. We haven't been able to have people come speak to the team. We didn't get to spend as much time around them this summer. But I think it's a different era. I think kids are a little different these days, but there's no reason you can't motivate them to be modeled after something that obviously worked for a long time.
Thanks.
Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey Scott, when you went back and watched the film, did you find anything mechanical as it relates to Cam and the snapping? And I'm wondering, is there any, even in the short term, is there any consideration about maybe him playing a different position, or do you feel good about where he's at as a center going forward?
No, we need to get it fixed. So we're gonna get as much help, as many ideas as we can to get it fixed. He's too good a player not to have on the field. He's too good a player to even consider moving him out of that role or moving him somewhere else. But we can't continue the way we're going. We did a study this week, and we've scored on our drives where we don't have a penalty, a bad snap, or a turnover. We've scored on over 90% of those drives, and we've just had far too many. The snaps last week hurt us. 4 or 5 of those, when you're only getting 63 plays in a game, is about 10% of your offensive snaps, and it puts us behind the 8 ball, puts us in 3rd and longs. Cam cares as much as anyone on the team, so he wants to get it fixed. And we'll do whatever we have to make sure that we're getting it better.
Maybe this is too much of an X's and O's question, but what about his skill set in particular, makes him so valuable in the middle of an offense?
He's smart, he's extremely athletic, and he's exceptionally explosive. He's still in some ways learning the position. He didn't play it until last season, but he's got the skill set to be really, really special at that position.
Brian Christopherson, 24/7.
Hey, Scott, I know we ask about the running backs every week, but what is sort of your status right now with like guys like Mills, Tompkins, Sevion, everybody? Kind of where do you sit?
Savion won't be available. We're crossing our fingers for everybody else at this point.
How did you feel Ramir did when he got some work there late?
I thought he did really well. We've been waiting for Ramir to kind of attack everything. I thought he took advantage of his opportunities. It was good to see him get in the end zone. That's a position where all we have really available to us with Mills down is freshmen, and I think those guys have played pretty well considering their age and level of experience, and Coach Hell's done a good job.
Sam McEwen, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, with Mills, he's still on the team, right? Like he didn't opt out or anything like that.
No, Mills just got nicked up, Sam.
So I wanted to add to the question about just I don't know, the culture piece, because Adrian was so thoughtful about it, and I think one of the things he said is you guys want to kind of have a tough love culture, but at the same time you need to be able to blend some specific principles that are tailored to this generation. I'm sure you've noticed that too. How challenging has that been for you guys to kind of build it that way, and are you as far along as you'd hoped you'd be in reaching some of those kids? I know you've had some players leave, 4 of them, I think, leave, 5 maybe, leave the program here in the first, in 9 months since they arrived. So how do you feel like you guys are doing on that piece? And is it about evaluating players and getting the right guys and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a multiple faceted answer. Kids are a little different now. I don't think there's as much tough love for a lot of kids when they grow up. Our program is going to be about love first, and the toughness has to be built in along with that. That's how you reach players today, in my opinion. If they know you care about them, then they'll and genuinely care about them, then they'll do about anything for you. And once you develop that connection through experiences with people, then it's your job as a coach and sometimes kind of as a second parent to teach them how to be tough, teach them how to be resilient, teach them how to be detailed and do all the little things right. That takes a while, particularly when you're starting off with new kids. And I think our staff does a great job of that. Again, this year we're playing a lot of young kids that haven't maybe learned some of those lessons as many times as the old ones. And the culture piece, I mentioned it after the game. It's gotten better and better and better. But it's still got to come from the locker room a little bit, and we're trying to train that, and hopefully we'll get some more time around the young guys. As far as departures and things like that, first of all, we have to make sure that we're recruiting the right kids, not just the right athletes. We have to make sure that we're going to recruit the type of kid that's going to flourish in Nebraska. And I think certain kids are going to come here and assimilate and love it. Maybe there's a few others that wouldn't. I went somewhere else and it didn't fit me, so that's not unusual. This has been a tough year too, like I said. And, kids can't go to the mall right now. They can't be around other students. I compliment our players for being really disciplined. We haven't had COVID issues, so they've been doing things the right way. And one of the biggest selling points of this place is playing in front of a sea of red, and we haven't even had an opportunity to do that. So it's been a tough year, but it starts with us making sure we get the right kids. Sam, I also think in this day and age, there's a little more impatience. I was fairly highly ranked guy coming out of high school. I didn't play till my 4th year of college, and that's not unusual. Still worked out pretty well. But a lot of kids now, if it's not working immediately, get impatient, and we try to teach our guys patience as far as that, and resilience as far as that goes too.
Steve Sipple, Journal-Star.
Just a quick follow to that, Scott. You've mentioned Grant and Jason before. Could they have led now like they did in the 90s?
There's probably a few things they did that they couldn't do nowadays, but it's just the accountability. When you have a time with a team and you built the culture you want, we call them culture keepers, where they come in as young players and they learn how it's supposed to be done, what the expectations are, how to hold other people accountable to that. Then those young players become the old players that not only hold the team to those standards, but teach the young guys how to do that as well. And when you're building that, the first thing you have to do is get the veterans right, and then the veterans can start teaching the young guys, and then the young guys learn it and start teaching, and so on and so on. And we kind of started from square one with that, and we've come a long way, but we still can button it up a little more and make sure that the leaders on our team aren't allowing anything to happen that's counterproductive to what we're trying to get done.
What is one thing you really liked about Adrian's performance, and one thing that you would tell him he's got to do better next time?
I thought he was efficient and he didn't turn the ball over. Thought he ran hard when he had a chance to. Made a couple throws downfield. There's still maybe a couple simple things that we could have done a little better. His eyes a couple times, but I thought returning to play, he did a good job, and Luke was really efficient on his snaps too. Again, in that game set, that's a tough team. That's the kind of game we're going to have to win to beat a good team like that. And when we have our opportunities, we just can't get the untimely holding penalty. That's the downside. The good side is we only had, I think, 4 penalties. Just came at the wrong time. And you can't fumble a punt when you're going to get great field position to try to go win. And Cam Taylor is one of our best players. He's not going to drop very many, but it's just untimely. And we certainly can't miss a guy on a protection. We're going to win. And the guy that missed that's one of our best players. So those are all fixable things that happened. That's good. Like I said, the intensity and the approach to the game was the best I felt. So we need to continue to do that and not have those mistakes that cost us.
Thank you, Scott.
Evan Bland, World Herald.
Follow up to the running back conversation. I guess I'm just curious, to what do you kind of attribute just the injuries that have hounded that group throughout this season, and maybe how has the learning curve at that position maybe helped to start, develop, or set up for 2021?
The injury thing, I don't know. Mills got rolled up on a little bit. Marvin got hit in the head, and the other kid's not available for health reasons right now. So I don't think you can point to anything other than football on that. But we knew we needed to get a lot of young guys ready because we were going in with one veteran with experience. And like I said, I think Coach Held's done a good job getting a lot of guys capable of going in.
Kevin Suits, KOLN.
Scott, beyond the numbers, how do you describe the progress your defense has made throughout the course of this season? It seems like they are getting better week in and week out.
Yeah, I agree. We certainly didn't play well 2 weeks ago on that side of the ball. But every other game this year, I've been really happy with how they battled, how physical they played. Did a really good job against the run Friday. There's been a couple big plays a game that we got to get ironed out and fixed when we miss a gap or miss one little assignment. But overall, we're tackling a lot better. I think we're playing more physical at the line of scrimmage. We can certainly help the defense out by fixing special teams and field position for them. It's kind of like offense with clean drives versus drives with mistakes. When opponents are starting inside the 25, we're stopping people at a really good rate. When we give them good field position, we're not doing as well. So that's not miraculous. That's not something that doesn't happen to everybody in football, but we can certainly help the defense out that way too.
Andy Kendi, KETV.
It's a strange year. You guys are playing first week of December, and you still got 2, maybe 3 games left. How did you see the start of this week as compared to last week, compared to the Illinois week? And is it a challenge to keep kids engaged at 1 and 4, knowing what you have in front of you?
I don't think I'm going to have a problem with this team keeping them engaged. This team's hungry. This team approached last week really well, approached today really well. These guys want to get this right, and they're going to give us everything they have to get it right. We hope we still have 3 games, 3 opportunities. We need it as a football team. We're young in a lot of places. We didn't get bowl practice last year. We didn't get spring ball. We had a lot of non-padded practices, a ton of non-padded practices, but very few real fall camp type of practices. So we need opportunities to practice. We need opportunities to play games to really get the improvement we need. And you can feel it coming. You can feel the young talent and the veteran talent on our team. And I think the guys know that they're close and they want more opportunities.
Get to 2 or 3 more here. Sam McEwen.
Hey, Scott, did you think about calling a timeout at the end of the third quarter when Iowa let the clock run out and wanted to kick that field goal with the wind?
Yeah, we talked about it, Sam, and I was kind of looking up, and the wind was swirling. I couldn't really tell which way it was helping, which way it was hurting, and I asked our special teams guys, and we talked about it, but I also knew that I probably might need the timeouts in my back pocket in that game too, so we decided not to use it.
As it turned out, I know that the last drive didn't work the way you hoped, but you did have a timeout left. As you think about just, how you guys strategized it, were you pleased with the fact that if you had needed that timeout, you would have had it since you had to score a touchdown?
Yeah, I thought about using it on first down on the series before, waited and used it on second. That kept one in the pocket. We had plenty of time, so we were managing that. In fact, we had, I think, 1:30 left on that last play, so we actually had time to just run our offense. Hindsight's always 20/20, so you didn't know you're going to miss protection and have that happen, but certainly could have been able to run the ball at that point too and take a little pressure off our offensive line. So I think the time management worked well, and we gave ourselves an opportunity. We just didn't capitalize.
Thank you.
Offerson?
Hey, Scott, how do you work the blend of, recruiting up to early signing day here while also playing games in sort of this unusual circumstance? And how do you feel about where you're at right now heading to the stretch of recruiting?
Yeah, I feel good. I really like the group that we think we have coming in. I think it's going to be another addition, really strong addition, really strong in certain areas that we need help on the football team, and we got to keep piling these recruiting classes up. I think just because we weren't able to travel as much, the recruiting class can be a little more regional to our area, which I think could be a benefit. And we'll do everything we can to stay on top of that while we're trying to get a team ready to play.
Even though you'd like a couple more wins, do you sense the recruits you're talking to see what you're seeing as far as the optimism about where things are trending?
Yeah, when we talk to them, I think they see it until they read some of the articles that you guys write, and then they might. No, but if you watch our team, I love how hard we're playing. I love the talent we have on the team, and we've been so close. And our kids are tired of losing close games. So I think they're committed to doing whatever little things they have to do to make sure that we don't make the mistakes to beat ourselves in those games.
Thank you.
And finishing up, back to Parker Gabriel.
Scott, I know there's not much, nothing you can control about what's going on at other schools, but there's more teams this week that have, issues with COVID than there have been at any point, I think, during the season, at least that we know about. Do you have extra motivation this week, or do you worry about having 3 more opportunities to play? And is that something that you talk to your guys about at all, that in a weird year you don't even know if this weekend or next weekend or whatever may or may not happen?
Yeah, I'm worried about the last 3 games, absolutely. I was worried coming off Thanksgiving with guys going home and coming back, what would happen. Our guys have done a really good job with that. We just haven't had too many issues throughout the season. It's no secret that I think around here we wish we could have started on time and played a normal season, so maybe we had some chances to make up any games that we missed. But I do see it rise around the country, and that's a bigger deal than football. The health and safety of everyone is a bigger deal than football, and I certainly hope we don't lose any games, but I think it's a possibility. Like I said, I think our team needs needs games. We need practice. We need all those opportunities to continue to get better day by day. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're able to finish this thing.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.